Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate you. So, elephant in the room, I got a new filming setup. By that I mean, I literally just flipped everything around and I'm filming in front of my desk now. Because if you're not new here and you've been here since like the dawn of time on my channel, you may remember when I used to film in front of my bookshelf in my old apartment. And I started filming at my desk after that, just like because it was convenient, it was way easier. But I always missed having like a nook of sorts to film in, like a corner, because the fact of the matter is I am a trinket girly through and through. I love a trinket. I love a curated corner in my home. Okay, there's a lot of them. And I just felt like that was not coming through enough in my videos. So here we are. In front of my desk, and I hope you guys enjoy it. As for the glare in my glasses, that will be fixed when I get contacts, which I am scheduling an eye doctor appointment as soon as possible to do that. But yeah, I'm really excited about this. I really hope it works. And let me know what you think down below in the comments. Today, for the inaugural video in our filming nook, we are going to be catching up with Glitter and Lasers because she's still lifting. And like I say a lot when I talk about her, she's always somewhere like doing something, okay? And we need to talk about it. So that's what we're gonna be talking about today. So grab a snack, grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's just dive right into it. But before we get into today's video, I wanna thank today's video sponsor, Akiflow. Akiflow is the ultimate productivity tool for busy professionals. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you work in a corporate environment, or you're someone like me who does a little bit of both, I have a full-time job and I have this, which has kind of become another full-time job for me on the side. Akiflow simplifies your life by seamlessly combining time blocking and integrations into one intuitive platform. If you know me, then you know I have a bit of a spicy brain, and compartmentalizing between my full-time 9 to 5 and my YouTube channel can be really hard sometimes, especially when I'm really busy in both of them, like I am this month and next month. Akiflow simplifies time management by allowing users to block time directly on their calendar, which helps improve focus and minimize procrastination, which has always been a big issue for your girl. The universal inbox tool is so cool because it will collect tasks from programs like Gmail, Slack, Asana, and Notion and put them all in one platform so you can go in and block them out however you see fit. And the AI Copilot truly is a copilot because it will learn your habits, your working habits, and make intelligent suggestions on how you can block your time better. And it can auto assign tasks based on individual preferences. And the stats feature is also really cool because it helps you keep track of like how much time you spend on certain tasks that you have to work on. So it can help you really identify like where you could scale back on some time, where you maybe could spend a little bit more. It basically just helps you work more efficiently. And overall, as someone who took so much time previously to plan my weeks and months and days and whatever, that planning those things became a task in itself, Akiflow has really helped simplify my workflow, really has made my life so much easier. So if you want to check out Akiflow for yourself, be sure to use the link down below in my description to enhance your own productivity. And thank you so much to Akiflow for continuing to be a sponsor of my channel. And thank you as always to you guys for continuing to interact with my content so that brands like Akiflow want to keep working with me, because it truly helps me out more than I will ever be able to describe. Now let's just get back into the video. I have so much space to like move around now. This is so nice. For Anna O'Brien, Glitter and Lasers, Viking Princess Lifts, whatever you want to call her, I've done so many videos on her. So if you don't know who she is, I have so many, I have a whole history lesson on her. And yeah, and basically she's still in her like lifting strong man, strong woman arc. And I have, again, quite a bit of thoughts and feelings on this as it's been playing out on her Viking Princess Lifts Instagram page. Because that's public now, so we can see it. And yeah, and I am someone who, if you don't know who I am, hi, I'm Megan. I had weight loss surgery 6 years ago. Over the course of that time, I have constantly been trying to find like ways to exercise and like just things that didn't make me bored and things that I actually enjoyed. And lifting over the course of time has become my primary source of exercise. I love lifting. It makes me feel strong. It makes me feel self-sufficient. It makes me feel good. Okay. And I had a chronic illness flare up for the last like 2 months, to the point where I knew if I went and lifted a single weight, it would send me way further back in getting better. So I actually just got back to the gym this past Monday and it felt really good. I'm going to be going back today and I'm very excited about it. So I love lifting. That's like my only credential in talking about this is I just love lifting, and I've been doing it for I think like 4 or 5 years at this point. So Anna is still in her strong man, strong woman arc, like I said. And the important context here, if you don't know anything about Anna, she has lipedema. She also has other like chronic illnesses that she refuses to name. So all we know is that she has lymphopedema, and she's been getting treatments, whether they are actually necessary or not, for the past like year and some change, maybe. Some of the treatments included having just parts of her body like cut off. So like she had a lot of liposuction done, and then she had some skin removal, which it wasn't really skin. It was still filled with fat. Her doctor told her it was unburnable. And yeah, so she's been going through some questionable forms of treatment for her lymphopedema. I can never remember which one it is, and I'm so sorry. I need to write it down before I start filming, but if she has both, because I think you can have both. And that's also another thing that really interests me about Anna and her lifting arc, is because I also, like I said, I have a chronic illness, and it does drastically impact my activity levels sometimes. And so it's been really interesting, I guess, to see Anna's whole journey unfold as someone who can kind of relate to what she's doing. Except the thing with Anna is that she is still very new to lifting. I think she's only been at this for maybe a few months. She talks about it like she's an expert, and that's how she talks about everything when she gets into something new. And one thing about Anna that I will always give her credit for is, even as a very large person, she is still always searching for new ways to be active. And I think for a lot of obese people, myself included, finding and being motivated to keep trying new forms of movement is really hard, because it is really hard when you are a large person to try new forms of movement. I understand why strength training and lifting is appealing to Anna, because I think she is a large person, both in height and in just the size of her body. And so immediately she's able to move like pretty high amounts of weight, which I'm sure in her mind, as we'll see and when we talk about it, and to people who don't necessarily maybe know how lifting works, would be very impressive. And some of the numbers she's pulling are very impressive, but like, we also have to look at it from the perspective of, like I said, she is a big person lifting, and mass does move mass, right? And so like, I am still desperately trying to get to a 225-pound deadlift. Okay, I want 2 plates on both sides of the bar. I am 5'8", and I'm rocking at like 250 pounds right now. And right now I can only move unbelted. I can move like 205, and that was before I got sick, and now it's less, but I'll get back there. I usually don't talk about my weight in numbers, but just in comparison, like I'm rocking around 250 pounds right now. 5'8", which I know is always a shock to you guys when I bring it up in videos, and that makes me laugh so much. Maybe now that I'm further back, I won't give off such shorty vibes, but like, I just think it's hilarious. Everybody's always shocked when I talk about how tall I am. And like I said, my PR for a deadlift unbelted is like 205 for like 2 reps. Okay. So I've been trying, and I will get there. Okay. I am determined to get there. So yeah, where I wanted to start was, with a new catch up on her lifting journey, was she posted a story crying about how she failed a lift.
I think this might be a car crash out. It was bad. It was good, and it was bad. I did more than I've ever done on log. I push press, but when we got to stones, my arm, because all the swelling just gave out. And like, it's so frustrating when everything in you wants to be the best, wants to work the hardest, and your body just decides to not cooperate, and I have no control over it, and I feel helpless, and it's very frustrating. And it's not like a muscle injury or like something that can be rehabbed. It's like my arm feels like a balloon that's gonna pop because of the freaking fluid. I want to be successful, and when I can't do something, instead of being like, my body's not cooperating, those thoughts creep in like I'm being lazy, I'm not trying hard enough. But simultaneously I hurt, and it's so frustrating. Not every day in the gym is a good day. Some days are like this and just make you feel like shit. I'm going home feeling terrible about myself. And I really shouldn't, because I had a really great log, but the fact that I couldn't pick up that stone, that my arm gave out, it's living in my head right now, and I don't know how I'm going to get past that. Today I will, but I'm just sad. So I'm going to drive home and probably cry and listen to sad music the whole way. And then when I get home, I'm going to stop letting myself be sad. I'm going to do something that makes me happy, and I'm going to move on, because this is just one day at the gym. This is not my whole story. This is just a blip. It's just a blip, and I need to move on.
Okay. And like I said, she's only been at this for like 3 months, and I can understand the feeling of failing a lift for the first time when you just started lifting and you are getting like newbie gains every single time you go to the gym. And then like the first time you fail, I can understand that that can be really disheartening. But the thing with Anna is that whenever she starts a new form of activity, she goes immediately all in, talking like she's a pro, thinking she knows everything, and she's just not good at being new to something, which I can also really relate to. I hate being bad at things. I hate being new at things. But like with lifting, and I talked about this in my last video with Anna, it's like you have to respect what your body can and can't do in the beginning, and you have to gradually make changes to improve that way, right? Okay, my battery died, so I apologize. And I didn't have my camera on filming mode. I had it on picture shooting mode, so if anything looks a little different now, that's why. Anyway, I can understand her frustration with failing the lift, both because like she just couldn't do it, and also for the reason she couldn't do it potentially being because of her chronic illness, because Lord knows, I've had my chronic illness diagnosed for like 13 years now. I've had it since I was 16, and I still get really frustrated when my body cannot do things that my mind wants to do. And I think anybody experiences that, but like when you know there's like a diagnosed reason as to why your body cannot do certain things, it's really frustrating. And I know I'm talking about my mind and my body being two separate things, which we're going to talk about her talking about that in a little bit. But yeah, I understand that. But the thing is here is this was kind of like red flag for me, in that I'm really hoping that this lifting thing isn't a phase for Anna, because I mean, she's been on the hunt to find a form of exercise that she like fits in for so long. And I really think that this could be that, honestly. But her crying over a failed lift, just like there's going to be so many other failed lifts in this whole process. It's just part of it, you know? And I have had some absolutely diabolically horrible lifts in my life, okay? Sometimes when my period's about to start, I have to go down like 10 to 15 pounds on certain lifts. There's gonna be bad lift days, there's gonna be failed lifts, there's gonna be a lot of that, and letting it affect you that much is not productive. And so I just worry, like I said, I really hope that lifting is the ticket for Anna. It seems like it might be. But also with that, she has to be careful with her chronic illnesses, because she does, I believe, have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. She's talked about having it before. Any proof of that has been scrubbed off the internet. But I do believe she has that. And so it can be harmful. But I also saw a lot of people on my last video saying that it's actually been very helpful for their Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So I think it's just person to person, like any chronic illness. With the crying over a failed lift, I am starting to wonder if she is going to quit / get bored of lifting once the newbie gains wear off, you know? Because after the newbie gains stop is when you actually decide if you like lifting or not, because it will slow down. Okay, it will slow down. It will get boring. It will get monotonous. It will get just like a habit that you have to do. And it won't be as addicting anymore because the newbie gains are not happening anymore. And so I'm really interested to see how this plays out long term. But like I said, with Anna and her social media-ing of her lifting journey, talks a lot like she's a pro, okay? And like I've said before, she's only been doing this for 3 months. And I understand getting excited and wanting to feel like you're like in the crowd, like you're in the lifting community, right? Like I totally understand that. But like, you're not a pro, and you positioning yourself as a pro right now, and I've said this before in my other videos about her lifting, is very dangerous to people who follow you. And I only say it's very dangerous because Anna, the followers and supporters that she does have, are very like devout in their following of her. And I said this in my last video that I really am afraid that her portraying herself lifting and acting in certain ways and things that are happening to her in certain ways as like they're normal is going to cause harm to people who may be inspired by her to start lifting, when a lot of the things that she's showing or are happening to her are like not normal. And so yeah, that's kind of like why I wanted to do this catch up, because first off, her form still remains questionable. And like, here's the thing, okay? First of all, I understand that like good form can look different from person to person depending on how like someone's body can move compared to another person. But like, there is like a rule of thumb typically, right? And like, I feel like some of her form still kind of remains kind of questionable. But then here's the other thing is I will never ever fault someone, especially someone who is obese, overweight, whatever, for getting into a new form of activity or exercise and being new at it and being kind of bad at it, okay? Because Lord knows I was so shitty at certain lifts, and I was doing certain lifts wrong for such a long time before I learned the proper form. And so I will never ever get on someone for that too hard. But like I said, Anna talks like she's a pro and she positions herself as a pro. She's very new at it. And so I'm just worried that like her followers will be taking what she's saying as gospel when like she doesn't have it all figured out yet either. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is she has shown on her lifting Instagram multiple times her peeing while she's lifting.
Yeah. I definitely peed a little bit. I'm gonna go take care of that. I'll be back. But PR!
Which this does happen, okay? Sometimes this does happen, especially in women when they are lifting extremely heavy weights for their body size, okay? Sometimes a little tinkle does come out, all right? But like the percentage of Anna's body weight that she is lifting, specifically deadlifting, because that's usually when she's peeing, is when she's deadlifting, should not be causing that kind of a reaction, okay? And I do know that incontinence can be caused by having a major excess of body weight and fat on your body. So that could be causing it. I think Anna's also in her 40s, which I'm not saying that's old by any means, but I do know that certain parts of the female body do start working a little bit differently when we get there. But like this peeing when you are lifting the amount of weight Anna's lifting, when you are still the size that Anna is not normal. And she treats it as though it makes her like part of like the in crowd, and like she's lifting super heavy and so she's peeing and like all of that, when like that's not a normal thing. Like I said, when you're lifting the amount of weight Anna is, when you're still the size that Anna is. And I think promoting this as something that to like aim towards is not good, because honestly, to me, it is a symptom of a bigger issue, like pelvic floor strength issues, urinary tract issues. Like I said all the time, I'm not a doctor, I went to art school, but like I know pelvic floor strength and like core strength as well are two very big components of either peeing or not peeing when you're lifting like that. And so go to a doctor, please, and wear a pad, please. Like, because peeing on the floor is just like, it's gross, dude. like problems aside, being happy that you peed a little bit and some of it went on the floor is weird, okay? That's strange, all right? I don't care how fit you are. That's weird behavior. So I want to talk about the peeing because it's not normal. And again, I'm afraid that Anna's followers who don't necessarily know how or why how all of this works completely are going to see like pissing on the floor as something to aspire to when like it shouldn't be. But Anna treats it like it's something that means she's like doing such a good job and she's like in the in crowd and whatever, when it's not a good thing. The next thing I wanted to talk about is she posted a video on her Instagram of her falling. Okay, she was doing, I think like they're called farmer carries. I have not done them before, but like she had two things on either side. She had two weights on either side of her and she was just like carrying them along. The way that she fell, one, she's lucky that she did not hurt herself by falling on the weights with the way that they fell with her. And two, Anna's still a very big person, and I am also a fat person, okay? But Anna's still a very big person. And falling, no matter what you are doing when you're falling at that size, I have to imagine is extremely dangerous. But again, she posted about it like it was like some sort of inspirational thing where she was like, fall, but always get back up and whatever. But like falling when you're lifting like that, one, is not, again, a normal thing. Granted, I think the like pace in which you like move when you're doing this kind of lift is part of it. So like that's why she was like kind of speeding along. So that's like maybe falling or tripping during that might be normal, but like still. But falling when you're Anna's size and like obviously her natural human instincts, right, were to fall on her hands, and just putting that much pressure like on her hands just because of the sheer size that she is so incredibly dangerous. And like, again, everybody falls, everybody trips. I think in the video, it kind of looked like she was going to cry afterwards, which like I would too. I get it. Like I've fallen in public before and you feel like a little bit like shaken, right? Like you're just like, oh, and I think the shaken adrenaline can like cause you to start crying and just like the embarrassment, you know? But like it just, I saw that and I was like, oh my God, that could have been so much worse than it was. And I just hope that, yes, get back up, finish the move if you can, but also make sure that doesn't happen again, right? And yeah, again, but just promoting this as some kind of like aspirational thing is not good and it's not normal. The thing that I really wanted to talk about after watching a lot of her content, particularly a lot of her content with her coach, is how she talks about her body and lifting. And like I was kind of doing before, I do think it is somewhat of like a chronic illness person thing to talk about your body and your mind as if they are two separate things, because in some ways they are, for anybody, but especially with people with chronic illnesses, because like sometimes your mind wants to do something so incredibly badly, but like your body just cannot. Like I wanted to go to the gym so badly, but like I knew if I went for over the course of the last like month and a half, almost 2 months, I would be setting my progress of getting better in my flare up so much further back. And so I just couldn't. I took walks when I could. I did any kind of just like movement that I could, but I knew if I went and lifted like a heavy weight, I would set myself so far back. And I'm happy that I'm better and I can be back. But I understand the separation of talking about your mind and your body, especially when you're a chronically ill person. However, when Anna talks about it, she posted this video with her coach talking about just like the lifting journey, right? And she was doing a lift. I don't know what it was, but she says something along the lines of like, oh, I think I could have trusted my body more with that one. And so meaning like she could have like gone up higher in weight or done like another rep or something. Anna does this a lot. She's done this a lot even when she was not lifting, about talking about her body as if it is like a separate entity from her. And like I said, as a chronically ill person, I kind of get that. But when you are lifting in particular, the mind-body connection is so incredibly important. I think at the same time, Anna talks about her body and her mind as if they are two separate things in like an empowering way, also is going to hinder her a lot. Because like I said, lifting, the mind-body connection is so important. And it's not a matter of you needing to trust your body more. It's a matter of you needing to trust yourself more. And I think that's like one of the big, like the huge reasons why I love lifting, is it has helped me learn to trust myself as a human and what I'm capable of so much more. And I think constantly talking about your mind and your body as if they're two separate entities really prevents you from doing that personal growth, which I think is such a huge part of lifting for anybody. And so, yeah, it's like kind of annoying to see Anna constantly talking about lifting this way. And I would love to see her finally make the realization that like your mind and your body work together so much, especially when lifting heavy weights. And I'm not saying like once you realize that, like you're going to become invincible, because that's not the case at all. Like I still can't do a 225-pound deadlift. Okay. Whenever I get over 200 pounds, something non-lifting related happens to me and I get sick or whatever, and it sets me back again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I hope what I'm saying here makes sense. Learning the power of the mind and the muscle and the mind and the body connection is such a huge part of lifting and is such a huge part of strength training that like, I think it would be really good for Anna to realize that. So yeah. And going off of the topic of the body talk, the mind, body, whatever, I think we are starting to see Anna have some major reverse body dysmorphia, if not just complete delusion about what her body looks like. And I can't really fault her for this either, because like I have had this. I've had it thinking I was smaller than I was, thinking I looked more fit than I did. I've had it thinking I look bigger than I did, than I actually do. But I think this kind of goes back to her positioning herself as someone who really knows what they're doing and is like making all these crazy gains and stuff like that. Because somebody called her out for like basically not gaining muscle, she's gaining fat. And this has been speculated on because of like the scars she has from her surgery under her arms. I personally think, I know she like split stitches, which wasn't necessarily her fault, but I do think that it's just, I think that her underarms are kind of like botched, and I feel really bad for her for that, quite frankly. But a lot of people have been calling her out because she's talking about how she's like recomping and all of that, which means when you're recomping your body, you're actively losing fat while gaining muscle. So like, even though the number on the scale might not be like moving a whole bunch, your measurements still are. I think she isn't making as much progress aesthetically as she thinks she is. And it kind of just makes her come off kind of goofy, if I'm being honest. Because somebody, like I said, called her out for not gaining muscle. She's gaining fat. And a lot of people are starting to notice that in her arms. I don't really like commenting on people's bodies, quite frankly. I don't like when people comment on mine. But she posted this video of her like flexing her back muscles to show her like shoulder muscles and stuff. And she was talking about how big her shoulder muscles were. When I'm going to be honest with you, the shoulder muscles don't really look like they're in the room with us. And I'm saying that as someone who does a lot of lifting primarily to develop my shoulders and my back muscles, okay? But I still have fat there, and I still have a lot of rolls on my back, okay? And I'm scared, like I will never be like, look at me, look at my back, even though like you can see something moving, like when I do flex and stuff, and you can see, I still know it's mostly fat, okay? It's like one thing if someone's like just celebrating the progress, feeling themselves, and that they can see in themselves, because being able to see that change is also a really big deal. And if you're just celebrating that as a newbie, that's great. I'm all for that. If somebody posts a picture and is like, look at my back muscles, and I can't see shit, but I know they just started lifting and they're really excited about it, I'm gonna be like, yes, pop off, right? But the thing with Anna is, again, she positions herself as a professional, like she's been doing this forever, when she hasn't been. And she's also using these pictures as a way to like fight off the haters, right? And I'm pretty sure I've seen her too use these kinds of pictures as a way to like criticize people for asking her like what she's eating, when like, if you are positioning yourself as wanting to compete as an athlete in a strongman competition, even an adapted one like she's gonna be in, what you eat, asking what you eat, to me is a valid question from other people, because as an athlete, what you eat is really important. I think she just still has like the level of like fat activism in her, and health at every size in her heart, where she truly thinks that what she eats does not matter to what she's doing in the gym, when they are so important to each other, even if you're not an athlete. And another thing that I was like, oh my God, I need to talk about this. So she's saying that a lot of the loose skin that she has, which is not loose skin, as someone who has had loose skin in the past, but it never was really truly loose skin. It still had some fat in it. But like, I understand why she thinks it's loose skin, because it does get more like malleable, I guess, or like floppy than like fully fat filled skin, if that makes sense. Like when I was at my absolute lowest, I never had like loose skin that looks like I just had a baby or anything like that. But like where I did have fat before was very flip floppy. Okay. So I can understand her thinking that's loose skin when it's not totally. But she posted a video during one of her lymphatic massages for her lymphedema, and she said that her like swelling and stuff is not her gaining weight. It's the loose skin filling with fluid, because she has these connective tissue disorders and whatever. And then so she posted a video saying that during a lymphatic massage, and the person who was doing her massage, who I think was an occupational therapist, said, "We know this is possible," because people were questioning about whether or not it was possible, because of ball sacks.
This woman came and she was like in my comments telling me that loose skin doesn't fill with water. And I have my, are you OT or PT?
OT.
OT. And she is doing my manual lymphatic drainage right now. And she goes, "That's you know how we know this. And I'm going to let you fill it in because this made me laugh my butt off."
Said, you know how we know that loose skin fills with fluid is because some of the worst swelling we see in hospitals is men's ball sacks, because the skin is so loose. And so they'll swell up, like they'll be the first thing to swell up immediately.
Yeah. So that's your fun fact of the day. And also, loose skin definitely can fill with water. So whoever's on the internet saying that that's not true, doesn't understand the lymphatic system. And also, now you know that the first thing to swell up in hospitals is men's ball sacks. Have a nice day.
So basically, this person was saying that a ball sack fills with fluid, so we know that skin can fill with fluid. So Anna's basically comparing her body to a giant ball sack. And I'm actually 12 years old, because I was like, what are we talking about right now? Guys, what are we saying? And yeah, so a lot of people have been talking about this. And like I said, not a doctor, went to art school. I don't think this is an apt comparison at all, because I do think when that part fills with fluid, a lot of the times when it's so much to the point where it's like swelling, that's like indicative of a larger issue. And I also really don't think that loose skin can fill with fluid, but I also don't know if she has these connective tissue disorders that she says she does, which I always say when I talk about her chronic illnesses and stuff, that I'm not going to be the one to question whether she does or doesn't have it, because I know how shitty that feels to have people not believe you because you don't look sick or you're doing things that like a sick person wouldn't be doing. It's terrible, so I'm never going to be the one to question that. But like, I don't know if she has these things, if that would cause the skin to fill with fluid. I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts to lend on this other than the fact that like testes were brought into it. I just started laughing and I needed to put it in here, so I did. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is I wanted to talk about just like her overall gym etiquette, okay? Because like, Anna's obnoxious.
My goal for strongman is pretty simple. I want to be the strongest person that ever lived in the world.
Sure.
I have always thought Anna was obnoxious. And she posted videos of her like rolling around on the ground while she was on a cruise and stuff, like in front of people. And I'm like, I'm all about being a little bit weird, okay? I'm all about like not having too much shame and not taking yourself too seriously. Like, I mean, look at all the silly things I have behind me, okay? And I'm a 29-year-old person and my whole apartment is filled with silly things and I act like a silly thing in public a lot of the time, okay? But like, there comes a point, especially in a gym, where it's like, are you being fun? Are you boosting morale? Are you being a friend to the people around you, or are you just being a nuisance? Okay. Because there are some instances where she's filming other people where sometimes they do look like they're having fun, but other times it looks like she caught them off guard by acknowledging them while she was filming them while they were working out. There's one particular example that I'll put here of like her filming a guy doing some kind of like upper body thing where he was like kicking his feet on the machine, and she was like, yeah, kick those feet. And he just looks at her and smiles.
Kick those little feet.
But you could tell that like he didn't know, at least I don't think he knew she was filming before she acknowledged him like that. And to me, that's like crossing a line. In a lot of her videos, she's like very loud and just like very inconsiderate of the people around her. And I'm all about having some fun in the gym, okay? Like if you're there with someone else and you're like kind of bebopping around during sets, like have fun. It's basically like adult recess, you know? It's part of the fun, right? But like you do have to be considerate of the people around you, and she's just being like a nuisance in some aspects. And a lot of people pick on her for like how she dresses going to the gym. Yes, does she dress like a 40-something-year-old toddler? Absolutely, she does. But also, if you want to dress that way to go to the gym, if that's what gets you to the gym, then do it. Like, I'm all about having cute gym fits, okay? I think having a right and tight, cute gym fit is like one of the reasons to continue going to the gym, all right? So like, I am all for wearing things that you like and you feel good in the gym. So I'm not going to come for her for that. As someone who doesn't take themselves seriously at all in the gym, like all about like having fun with people in the gym, talking to people in the gym if they talk to you, building that camaraderie. But like there is a fine line between doing that and just being a nuisance. I think she's kind of really towing that line. And yeah. So all of this to say that I am all for Anna's journey as a lifting person, as a strength training person, as a strong woman, okay? Because I can tell it makes her feel very strong and very confident. And as much as I don't like Anna as a creator, because I do think she lies about a lot of things. Another thing I forgot to mention was in those pictures of her back, a lot of people, one, were looking at all the shit on her bathroom floor, but like, I'm not a neat and tidy person either for the most part. Like I am, but I'm not. There are like Q-tips and stuff all over her floor, and people are like, wow, she lives in squalor. I really don't think that's the case. Some people were also noticing that the tiles on the floor blended together, which like the grout lines were invisible in some areas, which can be indicative of using a filter. I want to take Anna's journey seriously, and I want to believe she's telling it to us all truthfully. But given Anna's track record, I have a hard time doing that. You are a supporter of Anna's. I know you already probably don't like me. But if you're here, please go to other sources besides Anna for lifting, okay? And do not make it me. I'm not an authority on that, and neither is Anna. Go to someone who is. Because honestly, what Anna is doing and how she's training and how she's portraying herself training right now is setting her up to really hurt herself like she did when she fell. The fact that she didn't, first of all, in that video too, she lifted with her back and not her legs. And that can cause so many problems on its own. But then her falling on top of that, like, that's what I've been worried about this whole time, especially if she has Ehlers-Danlos and she's lifting. So yeah, I just wanted to like catch up on her lifting journey because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. But overall, I just need to say, like, she's not a pro or she's not an authority on this, even though she talks like she is. And if you're treating her that way, I really implore you to like go elsewhere. She'll call herself a noob in some posts, but like only when it serves her. So like when she's learning a new lift or going up a weight or something like that, she won't really admit it when it comes to like the actual just process, because she doesn't know how to be new at something and how to be bad at something, which again, I can empathize with, but with this and with the platform she has, I think it's dangerous. Anyway, I've been yapping for 53 minutes, so I'm gonna go. Thank you so much to AkiFlow for sponsoring today's video, and leave a, I don't know, I did this last time. Leave whatever emoji your heart tells you to leave, because I got some funny ones and I want to do that again. If you got this far, do that. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for making this far if you did. And remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, drink your water, take your meds if you need them, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.